Welcome to our Heart Medicine Sangha. Hope you like our new theme song by the fabulous, most beautiful Ali Maya, who's one of my dearest friends, who's always singing us these love songs. Through the apocalypse of our lives, we must have the background music. You know, this is a rusical, as they say, of life. But welcome everyone to our Heart Medicine Sangha. I just absolutely love this Tuesday night class with you all where we collectively practice loving kindness, metta, compassion, equanimity, and joy. And we really do our heart medicine practices together. I mean, it's every day, it's a new phenomenon out there and another thing that we have to open to and process. And how do we stay rooted in love together? And how do we practice and remember the stories of the great beings who have walked before us? So on my altar, as always, I have all these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, but Harriet Tubman is always a fixture, and so is Krishna, and so is Jesus de Cristo, and then others. And of course, as before we come on, I try to activate our collective energy and also feel into my own heart as we practice together. So I really want to welcome anyone who's new onto our Sangha. And, all beings are welcome. I always try to imagine that this night we're doing it with the universe, the great heart, and reminding yourselves about the power of the metta practice. I'm really here to anchor that practice more deeply and to share all the times about the healing benefits of the metta practice. It's very, very powerful. As we know, the heart takes us on a journey of its own. So you can always come as you are, of course. Quick reminder is that, and I say this every Tuesday just to remind you that the Buddha gave this practice as an antidote to fear. And so many of us are working with anxiety and fear and uncertainty. So this is a practice that actually gives us that resiliency, a sense of coming home and wholeness. Okay, so I'll share more about that as we go along. But of course, we want to first give our thanks to Baba Diva, who's always, you got to have a fierce queen on your corner, a fierce angel queen, always at your back. The revolution will not happen without our queens, everyone, okay? Just so you know. And, this is such a sweetness. So thank you for holding us and organizing our evening. And also, I want to, before we start, just do our shouts out to all of our cities, and please, wherever you are calling in from or wherever you are currently, Baba and I, of course, are in the great state of sweet Georgia. So we're in Atlanta live, and so San Diego, San Francisco, Vancouver, Connecticut, Virginia, Wisconsin. We always have a few from Wisconsin, Truckee and Arkansas, and Dallas, Texas, Brooklyn, Philly. It's so great. And also Vallejo and Oakland, Colorado. And there's always so many folks from the Bay Area. My home, sweet home away from home in Washington State. So welcome everybody. I always feel like it's important to just get our geographic location as we do this practice together. Just remind yourselves that we are the collective, that we are doing this practice for the benefit of all beings everywhere. We're practicing reminding ourselves of the great heart, anchoring our awareness in the heart center. This sounds easy, but it is hard to do. And if you want to take the hardest journey of your life, they say it's from the head to the heart, the longest, the most, intense journey. So don't underestimate the impact, the importance, and sometimes the real challenges that arises when we try to open our hearts, not only to loving ourselves, but to loving all beings. Okay, it's not for the faint of hearts. This is not the path for those who want the easy road. This is the harder road. Trust me on that. It's easy to just go into the collective greed, hatred, and delusion. But here we are. We're trying to carve out this path and remember who we are, what we stand for, and to anchor in this higher consciousness, this consciousness of truth, of interconnectedness, and the sense of universal brotherhood, sisterhood, even in these difficult moments. So what we're going to do is just to say a couple things about the practice before we start. And really important to have a good place where you can really sit for a period of time that feels solid for you, that you can kind of turn things off and ground into. But the practice of metta is what they call a purification practice, and also it has aspects of concentration practice. So while we practice, really, really important to remind yourself that we are saying the metta phrases over and over again. Okay, so as we visualize ourselves, I want you to imagine that you're looking into a mirror in your, using your imagination. As you're looking at yourself, you're slowly saying, may I be happy and peaceful. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in my body. And may I live with ease and joy and well-being. Okay, so these phrases they sort of anchor us into the practice. So when the mind wanders, which your mind will wander 1,000 times thinking about this and that and past and future, come back to the phrases, come back to the image of yourself. So seeing yourself, and you also can imagine yourself at any time, any age. I often encourage people to work with the image of their younger self, because it's easier to feel friendly when we see our 5-year-old self, right? We immediately embrace ourselves in that way. The goal of the practice is just to incline the mind toward friendliness to ourselves. We're focusing 100% on ourselves, which is sometimes difficult, right? We always love others, go out but now it's really about us taking in that heart medicine. You could say, may I be happy. As you look at the image, you could say, may you be happy and peaceful. You could also use the phrase, may my heart be happy. May my heart be peaceful, right? We want to find the easiest way into that feeling, okay? Because it's about the feeling of the moment. It's about the feeling of the practice. It's not just mental, right? We want to be feeling this through our body. So we'll also keep some body-based awareness going throughout. And I'll remind you as I guide you along, and we will start always with a body scan to just anchor ourselves more and more in the body. Okay? It can be really helpful to say your name. It also can be very helpful to put your hand on your heart, or take your left hand and put it in your right hand, or something as a gesture of affection. Again, we're working with energy. So how we work with that in a more tangible way, a more somatic way, is when we actually are doing things, touching our body, so we can kind of feel the affirmations and feel the practice that we are trying to invoke and remember here. Okay? Your innate goodness is metta. What we're doing now is just removing the veils, right? It's all in you. You don't have to go find it. What we're doing is just accessing that which is your truest nature, which is something already, it's the jewel in the lotus, which I love that phrase. It's an ancient mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum means the jewel in the heart of the lotus, which is like our innate goodness is always there. It's just like the clouds that hide the sun, right? So we're clearing the clouds, we're bringing the sun forth. Okay, so I hope that's good as a way of remembering. Baba put the 4 phrases in the chat. If you lose track of them, just remember, may I be happy. All beings want happiness. That's our deepest aspiration for our lives. Just even one moment of happiness we long for, right? We look for that. Everything we do is for that. May I be safe and protected. We protect what we love. We protect those we love. We protect the animals, the beings, the children, the elders that we love. So we offer that. And may I be healthy and strong. Remind yourself that our bodies are carrying huge amounts of energy right now. We carry the 10,000 joys and the 10,000 sorrows. So as many of us are dealing with diagnoses, injuries, illnesses, things happening in our bodies, the more you can send this metta to your body, the more your body will appreciate it. It will feel it. It will resonate with compassion. So it's a practice to do that. We're often very hostile, right? We're very kind of violent with our physical form. So again, and then may I live with joy is an ease and well-being is to the present moment. Whatever's happening in your reality, in your life situation, which is temporary, can I live with ease? Can I live with joy? And can I live with well-being, right? We offer may I. Okay, everybody. So on that note, we're going to begin. And as we do, we always start with a body scan because we want to anchor always a place of awareness in the heart, in the body. So let us just begin by closing the eyes. And as you settle in, take a big breath in and a big breath out and let your whole body just begin to arrive. For many of you, it's the end of a long day or midday or wherever you are, we're coming into this moment. So as you take a breath in and take a breath out, I want you to imagine you're settling with each exhale. And feeling, let's start with the top of the head. So moving your head and your neck around a little bit and allow your face and your jaw to just begin to relax. Bring your awareness into these areas and see if you can settle your system. And then bringing your awareness to your shoulders, and maybe you need to rotate your shoulders a little bit. And as you begin to just settle in your body, relax the shoulders, allow the weight of whatever it is that you've been carrying as you breathe in and you breathe out, let go and relax and settle with each exhale. Soften your body with awareness. It happens naturally, actually. So now bringing your awareness to your arms, and as you sweep your awareness through, we're invoking a loving awareness. feeling the arms, and now bring special awareness to your hands. Notice how your hands are placed on your knees, or are they folded, and just allow yourself to just relax your hands, soften. And now bring your awareness to your chest area and take some breaths right in the center of the chest. Imagine you're breathing right through the heart center. It's often depicted as green in the chakra color system. So imagine you're breathing in and out through the center, and you're just, with each exhale, you're breathing out peace. And on the inhale, you're just breathing in peace. And allow your whole body to just keep softening with your awareness. And now bringing your awareness deep into your belly, underneath your belly button. And particularly for those of us who carry a lot of tension, it manifests in the belly. So breathe in, take a very deep inhale, deep into the belly, and breathe out. And let your whole midsection, this is where your nervous system really gets activated. Breathe in and out and soften. And let the belly expand with each inhale. Any tightness or tension in the belly, just let it soften. Now feel your sitting bones on the cushion or the chair. And feel the solidity of your body. And just letting go more and more into your posture. Let the ground hold you. Let the earth hold you. Let go of any holding on, any sense of grasping on the inhale, breathing it out on the exhale. Now feeling your legs, see if you can feel your upper legs, and then bring your awareness to your knees. As you feel your knees sweeping through, feeling the calves and then the ankles, and then feel your feet in whatever position they're in. If they're on a surface, touching, folding, however your feet are lying, feel the bottom if you can. And then feel the top of your feet. And let your heart be elevated. Let the spine straighten as if the heart is moving up toward the sun. And then the earth is grounding the lower part of our body. And now bringing your awareness to the heart center as we begin the practice is just softening and keeping your awareness 10% anchored in your heart center while you do this practice. Don't lose connection to your body. So we'll constantly just keep softening. So as you take a breath in and out through the heart center, just begin to visualize yourself now in this moment. And as you begin to see yourself, or if you'd like, you can put your hand on your heart or touch your left hand and your right hand, or whatever is easiest for you. We'll begin with the phrases, and we want to keep the phrases going like a waterfall throughout the practice. So as you see yourself, you're seeing yourself through the eyes of Kuan Yin, Mother Mary. And we offer, may I be happy and peaceful. And each phrase is a gift and a seed that we plant. So may I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and joy and well-being. And allow yourself to just keep softening in the shoulders and the back. And keep the phrases going. Hold the vision of yourself gently. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and joy and well-being. And so on your own here for a little bit, keep the phrases going. Take your time. Each phrase is a gift. You could say, may you be happy and peaceful. You could say your name over and over if this is helpful. And may I be happy and peaceful. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. And may I live with ease and joy and well-being. Keep softening in your shoulders and your belly. Soften the hands. Holding the image of yourself as steady as you can. Keep the phrases going. The mind wanders, just come back. Just begin again. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and joy and well-being. And keep softening in the belly. So staying steady with the phrases. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and joy and well-being. And keep softening in the body, steady with the phrases, seeing yourself through the eyes of the Great Mother. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. And may I live with ease and joy and well-being. May my heart be happy and peaceful. May my heart be safe and protected. May my heart be healthy and strong in this body. May my heart live with ease and joy And for the last few moments of this sitting, imagining that this metta is like the sun on your heart and it keeps going out, including more and more people. May our communities, our families be happy and peaceful. And seeing your friends, your loved ones, and offering them this too. May you too be happy and peaceful. And this metta is like this great sun right in the center of the heart. So just imagining it shining out, including all the people in your city and your state. May all beings everywhere be safe and protected. May all beings everywhere be healthy and strong in their bodies. So imagine that the sun is going out farther and farther right in your heart, including all the beings and all the nations, and this whole planet, all the animals, may all beings everywhere be healthy and strong in their bodies. And then may all beings everywhere, we think, including the farthest reaches of the galaxy, all of Pachamama, may all of existence live with ease and joy, well-being. And as we bring our metta to a close, and just bring your hands to the prayer position at the heart, we just offer a bow as we unite our hearts with the Sangha of the past, the present, and the future of all those who follow this path of the heart. Great compassion, all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas. Amen. Hallelujah. The thunder. The thunder gods have roared. And so we bow to that. Oh, thank you, everyone. That was so beautiful and so powerful. And all of a sudden, when we were doing the metta, this storm, it went from sunny to just, and every time I would say a metta phrase, it would be like, it felt like I don't know, like the earth was with us. And so the sun is coming out again. It's one of those really flash storms here in Georgia, but I know it's quite loud because I have my microphone set up. So you may hear, I see the sun is coming back out. The rain is falling gently, but there may be some punches of thunder. We invite in all the thunder spirits, all the ancestors, all, in the indigenous tradition of, the Lakota, they would often see that was their ancestor gods, the thunder gods. And when then storms, they would often climb up to high places and feel like, they were interacting. So we need all the help we can get right now, everybody. We call in all the gods of every all the trees, all the waters, all the oceans, all the spirits. So So thank you very much for that beautiful practice. I felt like I could have went on for a few more hours. And yes, if you need to stretch your body for a moment here as I want to share a little bit of a Dharma talk on joy, because I haven't really given a lot of talks on joy, which, I have to say, as you know, I shared a lot on here about my grandmother, Anna Mae French, and about all her joyful heart, and how, as I've gotten older, and my grandmother passed over maybe 10 years ago, and I felt more closer to her since she's left the body. I feel more connected to her spirit. And one of the things that my grandmother really embodied, no matter what, was this insatiable, unrepressed joy that no matter what was happening, and it wasn't a joy that was kind of spaced out and ignoring life. It was a joy that met the moment, right? Wasn't an ignoring of reality of the difficulties of what was happening, but it was like, and I still have joy too. It was a this and so I was really thinking about that, and I was thinking about so many stories of great beings who, one story that sticks out. And I think I've told this maybe early on, but it was always a story that meant a lot to me. And it was about the teacher of the Shambhala lineage, Chogyam Trungpa, who Chogyam Trungpa was a controversial figure, no doubt. He had, he taught what he called the kind of crazy wisdom, which is this, and he died very young. Actually, was not even in his 50s yet, and he passed away. But in his very short life, he started the whole Shambhala lineage worldwide. He was with one of those early groups that left Tibet as they were being invaded by the Chinese military, and he wrote in his biography that what started out as a 1,500 person caravan whittled down to just maybe a dozen by the end. And what they thought was going to be a 3-month journey from Tibet into India. It ended up being a 1 year just battle for survival as they were being chased and hunted, and all of those stories are there. But he wrote very powerfully about this time and his biography, My Land, My People, all about Tibet and the history. And he talked about this one time, and Chogyam Trungpa was known to have this insane sense of humor. A lot of times people didn't even understand what he was laughing at, especially in the later few years of his life, or what, he was kind of half in this world and half in another world, a little bit. But he had this humor, and he talked about humor as what got the Tibetan people through what is the cultural and a genocide of the people, as many of them left and had to come to, the West, and many of them fled, and were imprisoned. And he talks about this piece in his biography. And yes, he was Pema Chodron's teacher. And if you look up Shambhala worldwide, they have thousands and thousands of meditation centers. And they're not without some controversy, as Chogyam Trungpa was this charismatic character that broke all the norms of what we thought of as the guru, right? On many levels. But he had this incredible wisdom. And even now, his books remain some of the most powerful channeled books of wisdom. And it's hard to hold. He was a trickster, and but he had this sense of humor. But I'll never forget, he wrote about this story where they were almost in India, and it was with him and a few people. I think it was his 2 attendants, and he tells a story where they they were caught by basically the Chinese military found them, and they were hiding behind this bush. And he writes about this moment where they go behind this bush and they see the military searching for them. And the bush, they were literally sitting in this bush, but the bush had no leaves on it. So they were basically sitting behind in plain sight, basically. And they said that the guards were looking right at them all around, but couldn't seem to see them. And he was with his attendant, and something about the guard looking but not seeing him, and they were sitting behind this bush, but there was no leaves on the bush. They were really, it was just like sticks. He had to put his hand over his mouth because this hysterical laughter, like the whole scene was so catastrophic, right? And here they are sitting, and the guards, the military never saw them. They went off and they were just sitting in plain sight behind a bush with no leaves on it. And then they were able to make their escape. But he said in that moment, the humor of the situation, even though he was like right about to get caught, they were like, it's over, we're done. But the fact that they had this, he just said that if you don't have this kind of humor, you'll never survive samsara. There's this joy that is effervescent, that is ever present. And it also reminded me of Alice Walker. Many of you know the Nobel Prize winning, or no, not Pulitzer Prize winning writer, and who wrote Color Purple, was a mentor for many years for me. She would tell me about when they were in Mississippi during the voter registration drive. Historic Mississippi summer down there deep in the South. And at that time, Alice was in college, and there a whole bunch of college kids were down there, and it was extremely dangerous. Three civil rights workers had just been murdered. And there they were walking out through homes and farms and talking to all these black voters, trying to register them. And the Ku Klux Klan was everywhere. And she at that time was married to a young Jewish guy. So not only was their relationship against the law, what they were doing was against the law. I mean, they were ready to die. She said it was a strange phenomenon. We were all prepared at any moment. It was are we worth dying for this? Yes, we've decided this is worth dying for. All right, let's do it. And because they had all decided it was worth dying for, they had this joy. Like, well, if we're gonna die for this great cause, then we might as well celebrate. And they would have, she said, every night they would have these huge parties, and all the families would cook all this food for them, and bring them collard greens and sandwiches. And at night they would turn on the music, and they would dance, and they would just be laughing with this joy. She said, I don't even know. It was like the joy of we needed that joy. Without it, we were done. Because they would get letters from the KKK in their mailbox, taped to their doors. We're going to kill you all tonight. We're going to bomb you. And they would just say, well, if it happens, it happens. Right. And there was this, and she talked about this joy that was with them, surrounded them, even when they would go out with the families. The families would be like, oh my God, you guys aren't scared. And they'd be like, well, a little, but mostly we're here to help. So we're going to be joyful. And she just talked about how that joy was really this light in that dark hour, right? And it just started to remind me, it was like, how can people have joy in the most difficult moment of your life? In some way, it's not a negation of what is challenging. They were well aware of the situation they were in. They were informed. They were, they had consented to the danger. They were willing. They were, and yet, how do we have this energy of this joy? So I want to talk about in the Brahma Viharas of what we are practicing. We are not only practicing metta, right? Which is love turned towards love. We're practicing compassion, which is love turned towards suffering. But then we practice what we call mudita, which is love turned to joy, right? Where every day we must find something in our lives, everybody, rather it's a joke, rather it's a memory, rather it's just the insanity of this moment, like we must find something to be joyful for. Even in the insanity of what people are trying to build, or in this deconstruction and the names they're calling it, or the feuds between people is even kind of funny. Like, even some of the political things of now these people are going to be deported potentially, it's like the humor is there if you look on one level, but it even goes deeper than that. It's us. Mudita is that feeling of finding joy in other people's joy too. So in this moment, I have a lot of challenges with my health, and I'm going through a whole nother round. And it's like today, I just had this feeling when I was at this hospital visiting this hyperbaric chamber, and I was talking to this doctor about the dangers of being in a hyperbaric chamber, and he just said something and it just made me laugh. And I'm sure he sat staring at me for a while, and I go, oh, I'm sorry. There's just moments of joy in all this drama with like hyperbaric chamber is this oxygen chamber that helps wounds heal. And I don't know, the whole thing just seemed funny to me. And I got it. It was serious. There was people in there with cancer, and here I am, and here other people are, and here the world is unraveling. And then can we just kind of have this spirit to us that remembers our people, remembers our ancestors, that remembers. And I just started to think about how my grandmother just would have been thanking Jesus right now. Thank you, Jesus, for everything, and laughing, and then making some food and being like, well, let's have some tea. No use continuing to work. It's just, how do we cultivate joy, and how do we celebrate people's happiness? So I'll give you an example of what sympathetic joy is like, because it doesn't just delight in the joy of the moment. It actively looks for joy to delight in. We actually have to put on our glasses every day and be like, where is there joy in the world? And maybe I can amplify that instead of amplifying the crisis, right? Because we tend to focus on that. So right now, one of my best friends is having all this beautiful things happen to her, and met the love of her life, and a soulmate, and they're on this like 5-star holiday in love and all this, and it's like there's ways that you could look at that as a form of like, well, no one should be happy right now, right? Everyone should be suffering, right? We have this internal dial set to that, right? Well, look what's going on. Nobody should laugh. Nobody should tell jokes right now. This is serious, right? And we can get deadly serious, underline deadly a few times. And we kind of can miss the fact that joy is a part of the heavenly abodes of the mind, right? It's a part of our resilience. James Baldwin, the great teacher and poet and writer and activist, I'll never forget that when he was in conversations with Maya Angelou used to write this in her book a lot, that he would say, what gives African American people their ability to survive is their joy. Is a kind of this buoyancy of heart, this life. And so we actively celebrate other people's happiness. And we say to them, when other people are having a happy moment, may your happiness continue. Joy is an antidote to jealousy. Because to tell you the truth, most people are jealous when other people are happy. Even if they've only had one shred of happiness their whole life and they share it, immediately we think, oh, your happiness means there's less for me. So if you think about the mind state of joy in itself is a mindset of abundance. It goes, I'm going to delight in all the happiness around me. I'm going to look for that. Where are people happy right now? Where did a friend of mine get the everything they wanted? Or even if it feels like a momentary joy, we celebrate it because life in itself is so unpredictable. Right? May you have a moment. May you have a season of great happiness and joy. May your dreams come true. May your happiness flower, right? And it doesn't have to be the things that we feel happy about. It's what makes them happy. Right? It's that happiness it brings to others. So people don't have to live by my rules. If things are, I have friends that are doing all kinds of things, going on these expeditions right now. I have a friend I don't know if you notice that Iceland's really popular right now. There's a lot of people going there and I guess maybe it's just so different, but I just notice a lot of people. That might not be my dream, right? I'm not so planning that trip. But, can we celebrate those who are doing beautiful work and celebrate joy and actually try to cultivate it in our daily life? Like today, I'm going to remind myself that for 1 hour, I'm going to practice joy. I'm going to think about things that bring me joy. I'm going to intentionally laugh. We can still have gatherings through the apocalypse. In fact, there should be more. Alice Walker used to always say hard times requires furious dancing. And exactly, like have your friends over. I want everyone to think about this and have a joy party and go, you know what? Everything's crazy, but let's get together and let's celebrate joy. Bring your favorite joke. And then it's about really tuning it in, not as an escape, but as an actual step in the resilient heart. It's an aspect of the heart. The heart loves to laugh. The heart loves to be joyful. I just know that's part of my spirit. And I'm lucky that I have friends right now that are even in the moment of an intense, situation, I can start to bring that levity and that lightness and understand we're in a moment. And how does the heart stay buoyant, stay open? And that is going to be through our practice of joy. I think that's why people like comedians so much, when they bring a kind of levity to the insane, right? They help us frame a culture and go, what is this? But then, it can turn. But for the most part, the joy practice is about your own practice. Where can you bring this quality into your life? Where can you cultivate more joy, more humor? Where can you embrace this as a practice? Because I decided to really take this one on for the month of July, right? Because I realized everything was just getting too heavy, it's like, okay, I know, I get it. We're in the great turning. However, there's always been these moments of great turnings, and we're in a big one. However, we also need to remember that our hearts thrive in laughter, in community, in joy, in the dance, that you don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel bad about having a fun moment. You don't have to feel bad about, we sometimes deprive ourselves because we think there's too much suffering in the world. So I have to think about this all day long. Otherwise it won't get better. Where it's actually the opposite, right? We have to balance everything in this more holistic way. So, and then I started to think about all the stories of like the Dalai Lama and all the studies of these great masters who would be practicing in the joy, this natural happiness, right? Even when the bottom falls out, we can still be happy. And I tell you what, my grandmother, Anna Mae, was that way. Even in the worst stories of what was happening, and so-and-so's dying and so-and-so's in jail and this is going on, she would just turn on her music and just hold everybody together. with song sometimes, with prayer, or just with that sense of it's going to be all right. And that it came from that natural joy. So I have named July month our joy month here for our heart medicine community, because we've got to balance it out, and we've been almost a year on compassion, so I feel like it's time that we all do that. And we know also, I was reading so much about how people who are healing their bodies from different things, that humor and that lightness, it actually changes the cells of your body. That the tears that you shed from laughter are different actually than the tears that are shed in grief. And so I also started to think a lot about my father. I'll just tell you this last story. My father lives on the East Coast, and Sally, because he has so many mental health challenges, and he just doesn't want anyone around him. So I'm one of many of his children, but we try and try and try, but there is a part of him that used to have what he used to call these laughing spirits all the time. And he would fall on the floor usually it was in a moment where, at church or something where it was not appropriate. That seemed to create the even funnier humor, the excitement of it for him. But he would have these laugh attacks that sometimes would go on for like 15 or 20 minutes, but it would be contagious. Right. It was like through watching it, we would kind of get a hit of it. And then all of a sudden it would be like, and he would call them laughing spirits. And he would often apologize. He'd be like, a laughing spirit got me, a laugh. And he'd be rolling on the ground and crying. And it would just be like, and I think it was a way he was releasing trauma actually through humor, through joy. And it's sad that he can't stabilize that state into a different level, but I got it. And it used to make me laugh too. And we would all be saying, laughing spirit got on us. And we would be laughing and laughing. But you get what I mean, everybody. It's different, and it's a mindset. And so I want you to really be thinking about throughout the month of July as things are about to accelerate. I mean, I know psychic, but I was again reading the astrology and like, oh my goodness, July is basically, we were going about 40 miles an hour, and now it's almost like the July with this Uranus energy. It's about to go. It's almost like we got in a car. We were in an old Toyota Corolla from the 70s, and now we've gotten into like a race car. And so there's a sense of that, this movement, things could really accelerate. And so that can create a lot of fear and worry. Or we can just have a dance of joy. We can say, you know what? We're here for it for as long as we're here for it. And let's do the dance of no hope. Let's do the dance of love. Let's do the joy dance. And know that like when we do that, we can actually call on the power of that great heart of joy to hold us and our people. So I want to encourage you. Many of you are, you're holding the people in your lives. And so I just wanted to offer that. And there's so many stories that I could tell you of all these great masters and difficulties and people in extreme challenges. So don't lose your sense of humor. This is critical. And that's the essence of Chogyam Trungpa's work. He was like, a sense of humor for enlightenment is pivotal. If you can't laugh at it, then it'll take you under in a way, right? There is something that is so ridiculous that it's such it just, I don't know how else to frame it, but let me pause here because I wanted to see if anyone had any comment or thoughts, or we have a few moments left here. And I want to see how this is landing. How are we feeling about July? 1st of July is today being our month of joy, and how are you with that? So let's go to, yes, Pamela.
Hi. I love this. Thank you, Spring. What I'm thinking as you're talking is how much time I and the people in my world spend worrying and being very committed to, I don't know, being so loyal and empathic with everyone who's going through everything that it feels like we kind of devalue the balance. We're like, do I really deserve that? Do I deserve to be joyful? Do I deserve it? So it's a really helpful reminder that that's important too, and the balance is important.
Yes, because it's
Yeah.
so easy for us to be loyal to the suffering and to think about it endlessly, moment after moment after moment, and that pulls us in
Yes.
such a powerful direction of hopelessness and despair.
Yes.
And we forget the joy. So yes,
Yeah. Thank you.
exactly. It's just
Thank you.
balancing. Yeah. Thank you, Pam. Yes. Anyone else? I want to see if does our Baba Diva have any words of wisdom as a joy diva?
Hello.
You're like,
Namaste.
hello, it's going out.
Yes. Let me tell you, being who I am, you know my story. Some of you have heard some of my story that was in the Medicine of the Heart retreat. That's how I survived a lot of my childhood, especially being in a super conservative family and not really having space for non-binary and language for queer and all of that. I just go into multiple drag queen personas and just play. I believe so much in play and laughter and some of the wildness of just difficult times of economics and, things that kids should not experience in life. But yeah, a lot of our family, I can relate to your stories, live by that, just to get through those difficult moments. If you're always tight with it, it makes it difficult, just to kind of breathe through all of it. So even as I always joke and say it feels like the apocalypse is happening, might as well do it with some painted toenails and a good runway walk and walk through the fire. That's kind of how I look at it with laughter. In a good wig, too.
And just to tell you, thank you so much, Baba. Yesterday, Baba helped me. I had this doctor's appointment I was kind of freaked out about because I had to get this injection. And so then we were laughing, and then we went to get pedicures, and I was watching Baba get green toenail polish, and it just made us laugh. And we just started laughing. It was like, yes, all right. If this is how we're in the apocalypse, broken bones, green nails, what I mean, there is a kind of surrender in the joy, right? Joy kind of produces a letting go in a way. Like we let go of a weight of some kind. So thank you for that,
Yes.
Baba. And let's go to Carrie. Oh my gosh, Carrie, I haven't seen you in ages.
Yeah, it's been a time. But anyway, I just thought I'd share. Last year, I had a really close friend. She had terminal brain cancer and she was only in her 30s. And so we'd have these conversations. We knew that she didn't have very long. I remember the last conversation I had with her, it was very serious. I was being very serious because it was really hard for me. And she just looked at me and she said, Carrie, you need to have more fun. And I remember looking at her and thinking, how can you say that? You're dying. And she was right. Like she was right. And, there's times when things just get really bad. And I just think about Lauren and I'm like, damn it, I do need to have more fun. I don't need to be absorbed with all this heaviness and that like you're saying and people are saying, we feel like when things are just so bad that we have to keep that energy inside us all the time to like honor it or something. And that's just
Yeah.
not true. So anyway,
Yeah. And I really agree with that because when Alice told me about, Mississippi summer and their voter drive, what kept it so powerful was their joy. People were like, "What are you guys doing down here?" All right. They were like committed. And there is something like we're all going to die. We really
Yeah.
are. We're all going to pass away. And like we all, it's so uncertain right now when and how. And we all have illnesses and 30-year-olds and are passing away and elders are passing away. I feel like the joy gives us a kind of wisdom now, on how to do it, how to live
Right.
this life with all of its complexity. But it's not our normal thing, right? We have to actually work at it. Like, we have to be like, okay, joy. Yeah, what is that? And I invite you all into that exploration. Where's your joy? How do you have fun? What do you want to do this month as a part of our heart medicine Sangha? This is something I want to have report backs on, everybody, okay? And as we go into this month of July and August, and, I too will be balancing all the intensity of everything I'm holding in the collective and internally, externally, and all of it. How do we just begin to have that sense of lightness and joy and also delight in all the good things that are happening and actually begin to share those things, everyone, right? And focus on all of the innovation and the thousands of kind acts happening. They're all there, And so I decided also on social media, instead of posting all the difficulty that I often don't post a lot because I want to post good things. I'm going to start really focusing on all of the amazing things going on, the healings, the liberations. This also needs to be amplified, right? It's also revolutionary. Um, yeah, so I hope that makes sense. Well, everybody, thank you so much. It's always such an honor to be with you all on Tuesdays, and the thunder's still going here. It's funny how it just arises and yes, just a reminder, you can join any of my programs online, our Medicine of the Heart retreats, and I have a women's retreat in Big Bear coming up, which I'm so excited about, and a retreat for communities of color at Southern Dharma, and I have a bunch of retreats open for everybody, and even beautiful retreat at Shivananda in the Bahamas if you want to do yoga with me over Christmas. Um, so I have lots of programs coming up, and I just thank you all. Our Tuesday night class means so much. So from live in Atlanta, we sign off, and remember, practice, and let's share every week our joy insights, okay? It's mandatory. So, yeah, a mandatory. So let's take off our mute and say bye. It's just so good to see everyone. I see Robert. Hi, Robert, and Susan, and Debs, and Steve. Oh, hi, everyone, and Cynthia.
Take care, Spring.
Yeah, Drew.
Yeah.